Hey, it's Terry Telefair live at whatever time it is. Because I can't see. 3:58. And I started on Facebook. I realize now that I've spent like years not saying anything about my background or anything, really. I have sleep in my eye. My parents are always telling me, be small. My mom says, be small and quiet. Be small and quiet. So, I mean, there are jobs and in which I have not told my whole background. I mean, even when I was married, I was only married for 5 years, and people are married for like 50, 60, 70 years, and they still, at the end of marriage, at that in that lifespan, in that time period, don't know everything about each other. And still, amazingly enough, can get up, have a cup of coffee, and have a conversation about something. Like, I think that is absolutely incredible, frankly, because I was only able to, you know, I was only able to discuss a certain amount of my life within this short period of time that I was with my ex. So, anyway, trying to decide like which. So I'll read my television resume. Or wait, actually, is this one more? And I'm just gonna read like the. Oh my god, I didn't realize that I had this. I have listed here like 88 jobs, I think, but I don't think that's right. No, those are years. Okay, so okay. So I worked. Right now, I work with a group called TET, and then I also just was hired for the summer with a local district, and I don't start that job actually till closer to the end of the summer, but it's only like a 6-week program, I think. I was with Twin Rivers School District. I worked with the Fortune schools through TET. I worked with the Natomas Unified School District, with Courtyard Private School. I was the program review coordinator and CPHS coordinator, which is part of the IRB for the university at California State University at Fresno. If you don't know, it's an institutional review board that looks up or researches. So you have to slow down. That reviews research written by students before they actually perform the research. I was the receptionist, administrative assistant, and also voiceover talent and on-air talent, pledge talent, and host for KVIU Public Television before that. Oh, and there's one I've missed. I was a sales tax analyst for an organization in Fresno before I took the job at Fresno State. That job was that was not my type of job, but I did want to be an analyst. So I was an analyst of a different type. Sales tax analyst. I was an exam proctor at McGeorge School of Law for a short period of time before I volunteered for 2 years on the WTA project. Almost 3. It's a lot of time, for no pay. I was a substitute teacher at Woodside Unified School District in Northern California, in the Bay Area. I was I was also at Santa Clara Unified School District. I was at an anchor reporter at KCBA TV in Salinas Before that, I was at KNTV TV as a freelance reporter. Before that, I was at Como TV as a general assignment reporter. Before that, I was at um, a morning news anchor reporter at WMC TV. I was a sideline reporter at ESPN. I was an intern at WDIV TV. While I was a student at University of Michigan getting my journalism degree under a full Rackham Minority Merit Fellowship. I was a college intern at KPIX TV while I was finishing my last year at UC Berkeley. I was an NABJ scholarship intern at WBAL TV, which was a paid internship in Baltimore, Maryland, after I finished the tour of Dream Girls. That's just a partial. Before that, I was an intern at KNTV TV as a college student at. Oh wait, am I going backwards? Sorry. I was an intern at Lockheed Missiles and Space Company for a summer in their video production unit, and then before that, I was an intern at KNTV TV in San Jose at the San Jose News Channel, where I worked later, as I mentioned. And before that, I was a host at Viacom cable television and I believe they're located in Mountain View on a show called Teenage Focus. The teenagers hosted. And I was with a group of teenagers, and then I was on my own. I did a couple interviews on my own, at least one that I recall. And then, okay, so I haven't mentioned every TV thing either. When I was in New York, I worked through TWI, which is a Trans World International, on a series they were pitching to NBC. So we were prepping for a potential pilot for the series. And I'm not even sure if it was sold to NBC because NBC Network, because I got sick and I had to leave New York. Okay, so then after semi-recovery, I started here in Sacramento. So I moved from the Bay Area after the 2 arrests and therapy here. And I started as a facility services assistant because I was actually on disability for a long period of time and wasn't planning to ever work again, honestly. After New York and the 2 arrests, I didn't want to ever work again. But I got myself up and I started over at KVIE. And then I was promoted to a receptionist, administrative assistant, and I did not move up past that for a lot of reasons, but mostly because of them, not because of me. Let's see. So after 6.5 years of stable work, I was there daily, had a job, which is great. And sometimes that's all it's about. I fell in love, got married, and moved to the Central Valley. And those are the 2 jobs I think I mentioned, the sales tax analyst position and the Fresno State job. And then when I came back here, I left my position at Fresno State, was working in school. And I was at University of Arizona Global Campus for almost 3 years and moved a couple times physically into another residence. And then we started work at Courtyard, and I also was working with TET. And I'm still working with TET. So did I read all this? So that's pretty much it. I mean, I've had many other jobs, like many other admin jobs. So I'm not going to go through every job because it's insane. Like I've had like 75 jobs. Honestly, I have to look. It's ridiculous how many jobs I've had. No one will really catch up, I don't think. I've listed here, I numbered everything, but it's sort of out of order. And the numbers that I was seeing on here, like 83, 85, 88, it might be even more than that. I see an 89, so I was counting jobs. Okay. So then I'll read my shows. Okay. So I think I posted this on Facebook. Okay. So I grew up doing theater in Palo Alto. I had a really low self-esteem after my parents put me in a Catholic school. Initially, after we moved from LA, because I was at the Center for Early Education, where Streisand's son went to school, and also Neil Diamond's son went to school off of Melrose. I don't know where it is now, but that's where it was. And my mom was working at KTTV in LA, and my dad was working down in Newport Beach somewhere. I don't know if it was military related, Air Force, because my dad's Air Force, or a different kind of job. But then when we moved to Palo Alto, I started to get involved in the theater because they put me in a Catholic school, and it was just the worst experience ever for me. So they're like, we need to help her out. So we're going to start her in theater. So so here we go. So this is not in order, actually, because I did Oliver and Oliver production at Ohlone School as a workhouse boy in the elementary chorus, and I have a program from that. It's amazing. I have a program from Ohlone School, but I have no programs, I don't think, except for one that I printed that I asked Kelly to send, I think, Robert Kelly to send, because I hosted a reunion for working a couple years back when I was still living over in Antelope off of Watt. So a bunch of the cast of Working got together for a Zoom reunion, which was super great. Like that was the best of the reunions, because I planned a Godspell reunion, a Working reunion, and a Dreamgirls reunion. Dreamgirls was really great too, because Henry Krieger showed up. So that was like unbelievable. Unfortunately, it was a really small group, but it was like super unbelievable that one of the creators showed up. So anyway, so I did Oliver at Ohlone, and then I did Pearly at Palo Alto Players, and I was in like the chorus. I was super young. I was the only one kid in the cast, so you're babied all the time. Like, oh my gosh, we have a child here. It was really, it was a lot of fun. And then I was in Oliver again as Charlie Bates, which was super fun too. And then Oliver again as Bet with TheaterWorks, both times with TheaterWorks. Before that, I don't know why I'm going back this far, but I'm like kind of skipping around here. I was in Goga the Blue Gorilla, and not as the gorilla. I was a city person. I know somebody's going to make a joke about that. And then I did Alibaba and the 40 Thieves at Palo Alto Children's Theater, which is actually my first show with Robert Kelly, who was the artistic director for TheaterWorks for many years. And then he's retired, but I think he comes back. He just did Come From Away, I think, with TheaterWorks. And then while I was at Ohlone, I also did Alice in Wonderland, just the tea party scene. And I remember it well, because we came in, or the visiting artist came into the multipurpose room and basically asked us who wanted to play which role, and I raised my hand for Alice, and he selected me. And then we got into our little costumes, and we had no time to review the script. It was like 5 minutes review, and then we were going to have a huge multi-purpose room presentation. So that was an interesting thing. I don't think I was the best reader then, But yeah. And then I did Babes in Toyland at Palace Children's Theater as the soldier too late, the soldier who came into the group too late. Like I arrived, I was the last one in, which is, somebody could do this the CP time thing, whatever you want to joke about there. Then I did The Hobbit as Bifur the Dwarf. And that was a musical. All these are musicals, actually. Everything. I did The Ant and the Grasshopper as the spider, and I had a solo, which I think was written by the director. So she wrote the music for this production, and I had a solo as the spider. And then The Wizard of Oz as Palace Children's Theater's Witch Number 2. And I barely remember this, honestly. I've seen images of the show, and specifically a cast image of me in a big witch hat, but I really have no memory of this show at all. I remember seeing the program though. So I was in Stone Soup for a summer conservatory school as the captain. And I remember this really well. And I had a solo again. I was in Godspell twice at the Palace Children's Theater. And I sang Day by Day both times and did a monologue. One of the parables, and I can't remember. I honestly can't remember the parable too much. But I do remember singing Day by Day. And then we revived the show in the summer, and I talked about that yesterday, I think. And I sang Day by Day again, and what was so incredible about it was that it was outside in the secret garden under the stars. It was beautiful. It was unbelievable. Like if I were to see the show again or direct the show or do the show again, I would want it to be just like that, like amphitheater, outdoors, under the stars, maybe not even covered, just out like a theater in the round. It was, oh my God, it was amazing. Okay. And then I did the Magic Flute with Scholar Opera, which Robert Kelly ran as Spirit Number 1. So this is an opera that I did. And they're now defunct, but whatever. And then I did Bye Bye Birdie at Palace Children's Theater as Alice. And I did, I talked about working at TheaterWorks as Terry Holmes the gardener. And that was incredible, like one of the most incredible experiences ever at TheaterWorks. And then I did Babes in Arms at San Jose Children's Musical Theater as Bunny. And that was all the shows, honestly. Childhood was like the most beautiful. And so I sang The Ladies of Tramp and Johnny One Note and Way Out West on West End Avenue as in that role. And then I did Little Johnny Jones with the Wing Spread Company as a member of the ensemble. And I remember I was in DC with my mom on a trip, like during the rehearsals. And so I came back sort of at the end of it. So that made for like quick learning and not the best performance, but anyway. And then I did the Mikado and at Wing Spread, and I was in the ensemble. I played one of the concubines, I guess, at age whatever, 16. Then I was in a chorus line, and there's Morales. There's me playing Morales with really short hair. I cut my hair all off. I think it was super damaged after. I know. After my summer at Marriott's Great America, oh my God, curling it and curling it and curling it and curling it. I lost like so much hair. It was here when I started and like here when I ended. So, and then yeah, it is. Okay, so then I played Rumpelstiltskin in the production of Rumpelstiltskin, which was also a musical at Palace Children's Theater, and I was in a big beard, like green costume, I think. I was doing, someone professionally did my makeup, like I was a makeup artist, and then I had to do it myself. And I think I'm in no way an artist, so that was kind of a joke. And then I was in Little Shop of Horrors while I was a student at UCLA during the summer. And I talked about that earlier too. I replaced someone in the show who left the show. And then there were three street urchins. I was Crystal. And then two other ladies came in to replace the ladies that were in the original role. Because the show ran long. It like kept getting extended and extended and extended at TheaterWorks. And so anyway, that was a super fun summer. And then I did Strider. I'm not going in order. Okay, like this is not in order. Strider as and I read from the show like a couple days ago as a horse in the ensemble. And then I did They're Playing Our Song at TheaterWorks as well. But all directed by Kelly, I think. Oh, except for the second Oliver, that was George Ward. So I did The Playing Our Song at TheaterWorks as an alter ego. We did the show all black, as an all black cast with a one white alter ego, and it was the reverse, like I think on Broadway. Typically it's done the other way. And then I talked about Evolution of Rock 2 earlier at Merritt's Great America, and I played multiple roles because it's like a review of rock from like the 50s forward. And at that time, I think forward ended in the 80s. So we did a Michael Jackson and whatever. Who did we end with? I don't know. You guys can watch the show on YouTube. It wasn't my best singing day, though, I have to say. I think I was sick that day because it's not the best show for me. And I had a costume change too. Like my stage mom and I went in and requested a new costume because it wasn't bright enough, flashy enough. So they made the accommodation for me. So there are other shows with this new costume, which is like blue, like blues, tight fitting, flashy sort of pants, sheeny sort of pants with a striped shirt. Anyway, okay, so and then I did try by jury at UCLA as a bridesmaid, and that was super fun. That's Gilbert and Sullivan. And then I did an original musical called Jackie O, about Jackie Onassis Kennedy, written by John Hall, which was somewhat controversial, but very revealing as an ensemble member. There's alleged abuse by JFK. So she was getting smacked around on the show and in this particular production. So controversial, not well known, not well known, but I don't know the truth of it or not, but whatever. Anyway, then I did, I was with Musical Comedy Workshop for like I think I did 7 quarters. I counted on my transcript. And I did 1 quarter where I auditioned for the Carol Burnett Awards, but didn't get in. And I think I talked about this before about positioning, because I switched positions and I followed someone. No, someone followed me that sort of made it a joke of ballads and romance in musicals. So that sort of it became laughable that I did this really serious scene. So I think that was part of it. And then there were just some other scenes that were better. So I got beat out. But I did appear in another Carol Burnett Awards in the opening number, because they sang, "All I need is one big break, just one big break, and Mister, watch my speed. One substantial break is all I need." And it was such a great, I love that song. Anyway, so we sang that to open, and then they went to the solo performances by students who were competing. And so it was super amazing. I really loved participating. And I did And My Name is Alice at TheaterWorks as an understudy. So I never appeared in the show. When one of the actresses, Carla Vaughn, was filling in for somebody or she was a standby for, I don't know if it was Renee Lubin or someone else at Club Fugazi in San Francisco. As I don't know if you've seen their show there, but with the huge hats. Beach Blanket Babylon, yeah. Beach Blanket Babylon show with the huge hats. So she was understudying someone, and I think they were supposed to go out, but didn't or something. And so I was the understudy for her in the show that she was in. But I honestly have to say, I don't think I was really that prepared. So I'm sort of glad that I didn't have to flinch. Then I did Dreamgirls as a stepsister in the ensemble, as Tina Turner, and I understudied Dina Jones. That was my first equity tour. So that was started at LBCLO, and then I was selected by David Tomei to go on a tour with the group. So, which I was super surprised about. I didn't think I was going on a tour, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you're going to." So that was my first tour. Marvin Krause was involved in that as well, and I can't remember I think he was a general manager for that, but I have to look at the program, so don't quote me on that. And then when I was at University of Michigan after that, and after my internship, my other internship, I did a review where I sang Bill from Showboat and Aldonza from Man of La Mancha. And there were other reviews, I think, at University of Michigan. There was another review where I sang Every Day a Little Death from A Little Night Music. So that was another review. And there may have been another, but those are the two that I remember. And then I understudied, wait on a second. Hold on a second. Yeah, I understudied Anika Noni Rose in a show that I don't really want to mention. And then I did the 20th anniversary Classic Annie production LTD in New York. I was in rehearsals in New York, and I traveled with the show all the way through to Boston. And then my contract was terminated without just cause in January of 1996, and 1997, and then I finished the show in February 9th, 1997, and I still went to New York because I was like determined to get in. I was determined to make it to Broadway, so I auditioned for multiple shows when I was there. I attended opening night. I've been through all of this. It's on my effing Tomorrow show if you want more information, and I've shared some stories about it on Facebook as well. And then I did Ragtime at Foothill Theater as a class. Okay, so although I was still in equity, I was in a course at a college. So that was a disaster for me. But someone else in the group, made it all the way. So whatever. And then when I left, oh shoot, I've forgotten some things here. Okay, so then after I left my job here at KBAU Public Television, when I got married and moved to Central Valley, I got involved in California Opera Association and did La Traviata in the chorus. And I understudied Anina, but I'm not an opera singer at all. Okay. So the girl I was originally in the role, I think, and then they replaced me, or we were going to split the role or something, whatever. I didn't really care because the opera singers have been training for years and years, amazing. That cast was seriously amazing. Great voices. And then I did Carmen in the chorus. And then I also sang with Master Chorale, and we did, I don't know how many performances, a couple of concerts. Oh wait, I forgot all the concerts I did with California Opera Association. So there were several concerts too that we did. And then I moved to a Master Chorale, and there were several concerts that I performed in as a soprano, I think. And then, okay, so that was all the theater and opera. And then fundraising, that amounted to 40 some shows with the reviews at shows and reviews. So with the reviews at UCLA, because I did 7 quarters, I said. So after each quarter, typically there was a review. So that's opened up to the public. singing for the public. So then I also did I'm going to fundraisers now, fundraisers and events. So we TheaterWorks put on an anniversary fundraiser, and I honestly can't remember which year anniversary. I know I was a student at Berkeley and I was working as an intern at KPIX, and I came down to rehearse for this fundraiser, and we sang Our Time and did selections from Little Shop. Our Time from Mary Lee, We Roll On, which is a beautiful song. It was great. Okay, and then I did backstage at St. Joseph's after I got back from New York and was living at home. The church sort of helped me kind of spiritually, and also they embraced the theatrical, my theatrical interests and background, and we did what was called Backstage at St. Joseph's, which was a lot of songs from musicals, and I sang I Will Never Leave You from Sideshow, which is a Krieger musical, and then I sang What I Did for Love. So and then okay, so these were all just the fundraisers. Okay, so that was a fundraiser but didn't raise, like, we got like $50 or something, and only a few people showed up, but we still had a really great time. And then when I was in Seattle, Richard Karn, who was in a series on television as a Tool Time guy, and I'm stupid and blanking on the series now. Hold on. If somebody knows, if they're listening, I feel like a dummy. Oh my God. Okay, so somebody can, I'm really embarrassed right now. But anyway, so he did a fundraiser because his mom, I think, died of cancer, and he started working with Overlake Hospital to raise funds for people who are cancer victims. And so I interviewed him because he did a huge golf classic and gala, or gala, if you like the gay part of it, if you're like the gala. Anyway, so I interviewed him, and then I was on the golf course when they were doing the classic, and interviewed Andre Agassi and Kenny G. And then we did, I think, who coached the Supersonics? Is it George Carl? George Carl, but we didn't interview him. I think we were just, I remember them taking video of him like playing. But anyway, so after the golf game, they had this huge gala, like everyone from everywhere. And so I sang, I was gonna sing Johnny One Note again, but in rehearsal, I was just like, no, this is not working. So I sang My Funny Valentine, and it went over really well. And there were several people doing talent that night, including Peter Scolari from Bosom Buddies, which I used to watch often. Like, that was like one of my favorite shows to watch on TV. And so he also made an appearance, and that was super. It was a super fun night, and I had a great time. Anyway, and then for the competitions, moving backwards now, I did Spring Sing at UCLA, Rhythms in Blue and Gold, and I won first place solo in 1987, singing Funny Girl I was singing from Funny Girl. I sang Don't Rain on My Parade from Funny Girl, and won for that. And then I mentioned the Carol Burnett Awards already, so that was another competition that I sang in, but not as a soloist, just in the ensemble. So that's pretty much everything. I think I mentioned everything. So after all of that, I have an apartment, and I'm up at 4:33 trying to understand why I'm still in an apartment. And Yeah, I don't know. Because I have no money. I mean, I have money, but not enough to buy an apartment here. I buy a house here. Um, okay. Okay, this is like, these are like all of my jobs, like everything, every job. Okay, I'm not gonna read every job because it's just insane. It's really super insane. Yeah, always in survivor mode, never in surpasser mode, never in comfort mode. Right now, I guess I should be thankful because I can sit around and just reflect on everything and go, wow, I did all that. Isn't it amazing? Oh, isn't it incredible? Isn't it amazing? And they still think I'm food. Like, oh, now people are going to gnaw off you and chew you because of all of your amazing accomplishments. Amazing. Okay, so now I'm going to read. Dude, I don't even want to really read this. I think I've done. How many minutes have I gone now? That's 36 minutes. So I think, and nobody wants to pay attention to the rest of this. So next time I will read all of the places I've moved. And literally, I mean, I wrote like why I moved from each place. Okay. And some of it you can sort of understand based upon the resume that I have and the different locations I've worked. Now I'm getting this nasty crap in my mouth. Like somebody just squirted in my mouth. I don't need that. I'm not that kind. You put me in the wrong system at the wrong level. Like I must be below the earth now with the wrong people doing the wrong thing. Okay. So it's 63 moves. And that's including all the moves on each tour. Like Dreamgirls, we were in Fort Worth, and then we were in Beverly. Fort Worth at it's not Tets. What's the other? Casa Manana Musicals, and then we were in Beverly, Massachusetts at North Shore Music Theater, and then we ended at Sacramento Music Circus. When here in Sacramento, when it was a tent, before they built that huge spaceship that they have now, enclosed. Okay, so I included every move on tour. And same thing with Annie. Like we started in New York, and then we went to Houston, and then we went to St. Paul, I think it was St. Paul, and then Rosemont, and then Baltimore, and then Boston. And they were supposed to go to Hershey and Montreal, I think, before New York. And I'm not sure they made it to Montreal. I think they made it to Hershey. And then New York. So but I left the tour in Boston. Okay, so it includes all of that moving. Okay, but I'm not going to read that. It's how many pages is this? One with explanations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's 10 pages, like 9.5 pages of movement. Okay, so I'm hearing, because I feel like I have like supersonic 2020 hearing, that there are people now who have done shows, more than 30 shows by the age of like 10, whatever. That's very possible. I don't doubt it. There will be someone who beats me at that. I don't really think that's the point. And while I don't want to go back to Broadway playing a maid at all, in fact, if someone offered me that opportunity, I would refuse, because I played, there's a maid scene in Babes in Arms. So that actually on the second show I didn't make it out to, because there's a set issue, and so I couldn't make it out to the scene. So they just like improvised until. And then I played Mrs. Greer on tour with Annie, and then Anina is the maid in La Traviata. So I've done enough maid work. So I've cleaned enough. I just can't do it anymore. So I would refuse. No slaves, no maids, and the ideal shows would be like Woman of the Year and No Strings, I think. And I've always wanted to play Eponine in Les Mis. But at this point, the way I look, I think I'm a candidate for Fantine. And I'll just die on the stage. Anyway, I guess I just wanted to read that because I'm still trying to figure out the logical reason why my life is the way it is right now, and I haven't figured it out. And whether I say nothing, and I'm sure a lot of people didn't know about all this background and don't really care, or everything, the result is pretty much the same. So I just chose. I think right now I'm in the diarrhea of the mouth stage of my life, and so. And you'll still only hear, like, you won't hear everything, most likely. And I'm sure that I've forgotten things. So, but that's a lot of it. So hopefully you can't take my life because you'll know everything, because you'll never know everything about everyone. And when God is ready to take me, he will take me. And when he's not, he won't. Because there have been a lot of like satanic kind of attempts, and they haven't succeeded. And I'm still here at 4:40 in the morning on whatever date this is, on the 24th of June. It is amazing. So I hope on that note, you guys have a blessed day. And I have my I'm grateful for box, which actually I haven't used in a while. I started this little thing where I put what I'm grateful for on little pieces of paper. And I've started to draw hearts instead of, I just had like lungs pieces of paper like this, like a rectangular piece of paper, but strips of paper. I don't even like the connotation at this point, since I was strip searched. No more stripping. That was a long time ago though. I shouldn't end with that. I'm really pissed that I ended with that. But do your grateful for box and put in what you're grateful for in your little heart-shaped piece of paper. Okay. I'm mad at myself for ending on that. Okay. Have a really great day.